Hey everybody, Chuck Tyler here, Living Beyond Abuse. I wanted to bring you out on a hike with me this morning, show off a little bit of Sedona, this beautiful place where I live. It's about 6:30 in the morning. It's an excellent time for a hike. If you've never been to Sedona, you should visit. So today we're going to be talking about triggers. If you are a survivor of some kind of abuse, sexual abuse in my case, or some kind of trauma that you've had in the past, odds are you are being triggered, maybe on a daily basis, maybe multiple times a day, and it's possible that you don't even realize it. So I'm going to talk about what triggers are and how to deal with them in your daily life. So a trigger is something that happens in your daily life that reminds you of your abuse or your trauma and sets off an emotional reaction in you. It's usually something simple. It's often with another person. Another person will do something innocent or friendly, like put their hand on your back, and it sets off this emotional response because it reminds you of your trauma or your sexual abuse. Triggers can happen with other people, and they often do, or they can happen when you're alone. And I find in my personal experience that it's about 50-50. Somebody will say something to me that reminds me of my abuser, or somebody will do something to me, touch me, and that will take me back to my abuse. But also I'll be at home alone, and I will open something, a door, and it'll hit me, and I'll get really angry. Or I'll move something out of the way and something else will come over and hit me, and I'll get really angry. And so I'll usually respond by like hitting the door, or whatever this thing was that hit me, I'll throw it. And I did that for years, without looking at it and realizing how, pointless it is that I'm throwing a book across the room, or I'm hitting a cabinet door. So triggers can happen with people, or they can happen when you're alone. When a trigger happens with another person, it's going to be confusing for them, and it's going to be confusing for you. They're going to say something probably innocent, and you're going to respond to it with this elevated emotional reaction. And they're going to wonder what they did wrong. That's going to be the first thing they go to, is what did I do to make this person upset? When really, they really didn't do anything that caused that emotion, other than reminding you that you had an abusive past, or your abuser did something to you. An example of this is when my wife and I were first in a relationship together. I would be in the kitchen preparing food, and she would come up behind me and hug me and put her arms around me. She wanted to show affection to me. She was saying, "I love you." My response was to cringe, and I even did it physically a little bit probably, but mostly it was internal, and my thinking process was, what the hell makes her think she can come into my personal space without asking me and touch me? And outwardly I would say something, "Yes, I love you too," but I wasn't feeling it, and it was obvious, and I wasn't really noticing that this was happening other than the emotional response. And it wasn't long before she came to me and said, hey, what am I doing when I hug you that you don't like? Am I hugging you wrong?" She thought she was doing something wrong, and that's that's the number one go-to response of people when they don't realize they're triggering you. And they never do realize they're triggering you. They don't, they're not, my wife wasn't hugging me to try to hurt me. So the most important thing here with a trigger is to remember that the person that's triggering you isn't doing it on purpose. They're not trying to hurt you. And they're usually oblivious to what's going on. So when you get triggered, it's important to understand that you may not even understand what it is about the situation that's triggering you. You may not be able to draw a line between what's happening and what it was in your past that's triggering this. And that's really unimportant right now. The thing to realize is that you're aware of the trigger. You can stop and go, oh, wait a minute, this is happening. Doesn't matter why, but you're going to fix it. An example is, I remember once being in the kitchen, and I was triggered by a bowl of corn, right? And so I don't even know why a bowl of corn would trigger me, but it did, and I realized it, and I recognized it, and I let it go. The way to deal with being triggered is to notice it. It's the only way you're going to deal with it. You have to be present, you have to be aware, and you have to be honest with yourself that you're being triggered and you're having an emotional response. You have to be aware of your emotions. You have to notice that you're getting angry. You have to notice that you're getting defensive. You have to notice that you're getting scared. You have to notice that you're getting hurt. Be honest with yourself. When I notice I'm getting triggered, I stop. Whether I'm alone or whether I'm with other people, I stop what I'm doing and I deal with it. Now, my close friends and my wife know that I do this, and they're aware of it. If somebody's talking to me, I say, wait a minute, whoa, I'm getting triggered. And they'll stop. They're used to this now. Make your friends used to this. If they don't understand, they're not your friends. So stop and examine it and say, wait, what you just said triggered me. And when you shine a light on it and you disassemble it and you put it on a table and you look at it and you say, okay, what is this? It starts to look ridiculous because you're having an elevated emotional response to something that doesn't warrant that kind of emotional response. And once you look at it and you can shine a light on it, it kind of dissolves. It kind of exposes itself for being the ridiculous thing that it is. Once you've looked at it, once you've examined it, and you're aware of it, especially when there are other people around, then you know that that triggers you, that thing that they said, or that thing that they did, or that bowl of corn. Once you see it, you just let it go. It's automatic, really. You go, okay, I'm not going to let this bowl of corn trigger me anymore. I'm not going to let what you said trigger me anymore. You didn't mean anything by it. So it's really that simple. You notice it, you shine a light on it, you stop, and you let it go. So once you're aware of this process, you do it all day. You notice you're being triggered and you go, oh, there's another trigger. Ha, got it. And you let it go and you move on. You become this kind of trigger-releasing machine. When you do this, your emotions become more balanced all day long. You become a stronger person. You're self-empowering when you do this. So make this a habit. Do this every day. Do it all day. Notice your triggers, be aware of them, and just get rid of that old behavior. This behavior is caused by your trauma, by your assault, by your abuse, by your abuser. This is your abuser telling you how to react to things. And as you notice and get rid of these behaviors all day long, you're shedding away these layers of who your abuser told you you need to be. And you're allowing yourself to blossom through self-empowerment. You're designing the new you. So be patient with yourself as you learn how to do this. You've probably gone your whole life ignoring these triggers, and now you know how to spot them and deal with them. It's going to take a little practice. Just get a little momentum going, and it becomes easy. It becomes second nature. It took me up until I was in my early 40s to realize what these things were, and within a few months I was just boom, 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 taking care of all these behaviors and reinventing myself. I became the person who, when someone comes up behind me and hugs me, I turn around and hug them back instead of wanting to fight them or get angry. So thanks for watching. Totally appreciate everybody watching. If something you saw here helped you today, or you liked what you saw, please help me back by hitting subscribe and like and share. Help me keep this process going. A lot more videos coming, a lot more to talk about. If you have any questions for me or comments on anything you've seen in any of these videos, put them in the comments below, or get on my website and reach out to me there, chucktyler.com. We can start a conversation there if you want to talk about something more personal that you don't want to put on a public comments page. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next video.